Hey y'all, it's Joey C VSG, and this is going to be a doozy of a video. Please excuse me, I am a mess, mentally, emotionally, physically. You will find out why in the upcoming minutes, and I am sorry that I am a day late coming with my update. So I'm going to start my stats, and then we will get into all of the good stuff and the trauma and the depression and everything that we talk about here on this channel. So I am Joey. I'm 31 years old. I am 5'7", and I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery on Friday, May 6th of 2016 with Dr. Khan in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My highest ever weight was 350. My highest recorded weight was 314-ish. I did a two-week pre-op liquid diet with Dr. Khan. At the start of that, I was 294.8. Day of my sleeve surgery, I was 282.2. The lowest that I ever saw was 181.4. And then I got back up over the years to 267.6. That is when I decided to have gastric bypass surgery. My insurance was not going to approve my gastric bypass, so I did decide to go to Mexico and pay out of pocket for it. So once again, I did a 2-week pre-op liquid diet. At the start of that, I was 267.6. I got down to 256.0 after my liquid diet. That was the day before surgery. I had surgery on Wednesday, May 19th. I did have a Roux-En-Y Gastric bypass with Dr. Ortiz in Tijuana, Mexico, with EOC, which is Elias Ortiz & Co. Last week when I came to you guys, I was 250.2. And this week's weigh-in, I was 2 weeks post-op yesterday. It's going to be a little confusing, but I'm going to give you my weigh-in from today, and then we'll talk about why it wasn't on time and everything else. I was 245.2. That was this morning, Thursday, May 3rd. Now for the chaos. So I had my surgery last month on the 19th. I was doing amazing for the first week. A week after, on the 27th, I started vomiting that evening. I vomited all night long and into Friday morning, the 28th. So on the 28th, I decided to go to the local emergency room here in Palm Springs, California. I was just not feeling right. I know my body. The vomiting was one thing, but I felt pressure and pain in the left side of my abdomen. Something was just not right. So I went to the emergency room. They got me in right away because of the vomiting, and they did a CT with contrast. And they diagnosed me with a bowel blockage. A bowel blockage is very, very common after having anesthesia. You could be going in for an abdominal surgery or a broken finger. It does not matter the type of surgery that you're going in for, a bowel blockage can still occur. So the bariatric surgeon that services the hospital that I was at was out of town. So they didn't want to waste time, so they wanted to transport me. The next nearest hospital was full, so they transported me to UC Irvine Medical Center here in Southern California. That was Friday, the 28th of May. I arrived at UC Irvine about 8:30 p.m. and I thought that I would get admitted and go to sleep for the night. I was incorrect. So that evening, they decided that they needed to insert an NG tube. An NG tube is a long, rigid tube that goes in your nostril, down the back of your throat, into your stomach, and then it is on a suction, and it is suctioning out fluid and gas from your stomach area. So that was the most pain I have ever felt in my entire life. And I'm not weak. I have a good pain tolerance. It was just not happening for me. I could not handle it. I let them keep it in for 4 hours before I told them that they had to take it out because I couldn't handle it anymore. I got about 200 cc's of fluid from it though, so it was productive, but I just could not stand it anymore. So the NG tube came out about 4 a.m. on Saturday, May 29th. So that day, they decided that they were going to do an upper GI series with contrast. So I had to drink contrast. Anyone on this journey, it's kind of like barium, but it's not the thick, white, chalky drink. It's a clear drink, but it's still contrast, and you can see it moving through you. Anyone who's had a barium swallow, it's kind of like that. But you drink it, and they take a series of x-rays over the course of 4 hours to see how quickly it's traveling, if it's traveling the right way, if there's a blockage, and so forth. So I did that, which was very hard because I just had gastric bypass and I have a teeny tiny stomach, and I had to drink a ton of fluid, 300 cc's of contrast, in order to get this series done. So that was quite difficult, but fine. I did start throwing up from the contrast a little bit. It wasn't horrible, and it was still able to do the test. And let me also add in, I had not had a bowel movement since Sunday, May 16th. So no bowel movements the few days before surgery or the entire time after surgery, just none. So we did the upper GI series, and it showed a very small bowel blockage. Not something to be extremely concerned with, but that had been my diagnosis. But the pain that I was having was so much more severe than a small bowel blockage. So then they wanted, the next day at the hospital, they wanted to do another set of x-rays. So they did another set of x-rays, and then they didn't know what to do. My pain was not getting better. I was on around-the-clock pain medicine on morphine and Dilaudid, and my pain was not getting any better. It just wasn't. The pressure in my belly wasn't getting better, all focused on the left side of my stomach. Just pressure, pain, buildup, no bowel movements, nothing really being shown on the testing. So the entire time I had been in the hospital, my team of doctors and surgeons said that they did not want to do surgery. We don't want to do surgery. It's too risky. It's too risky. You might not make it out. The recovery is going to be really hard if you do. They were telling me that at the amount of time post-op I had been from my gastric bypass, everything was just like wet tissue paper in my abdomen. My bowels had already been manipulated, my intestines, everything had been cut and sewn and stitched and just handled, and it was not a great idea. Well, Monday, the 31st, Memorial Day, my surgeons walked into the room and said, "We have no choice. We have to take you in for surgery. There's not anything else that we can do. You're not getting any better, and we are afraid that if we wait, something will get worse." So I was then terrified because my team of surgeons and doctors said that they didn't want to do this surgery, that it was too risky. But now they're telling me that it's the only option. So I looked my surgeon dead in the face and I said, "Am I going to make it through this surgery?" And he said, "I think you will make it through, but the recovery is going to be very, very difficult." I told him, "You handle the surgery, I will handle the recovery." And that was it. So the surgery was an exploratory laparotomy. So they were going to go in laparoscopically and do an exploratory surgery. So that is what we did. It ended up, they started laparoscopically and then had to open me up. I now have a 6-inch incision through the muscles of my abdomen, plus 4 new laparoscopic scars that are all stapled shut, plus my existing 5 from the 19th surgery. And they found the problem. So during the exploratory surgery, sorry guys, it's been a really hard time. During the surgery, they found out that there is a JJ connection in my intestines that the doctors in Mexico created for the gastric bypass. And when the Dr. Ortiz in Mexico made that connection, he sewed my entire intestine shut and nothing could get through. And that was the problem. So my team of surgeons had to cut out the entire portion of intestine, remake that connection so I would be able to pass anything, even clear liquids, and so I would have a successful bypass and be alive. The surgery took about 5 hours, and I am lucky. I'm very lucky that I made it out alive. I am very lucky that they were able to find the problem and that they were able to fix it. I have not released that information publicly on any other platform. There are a lot of members of the surgical center that I went to, and for the most part, they have been very loving and encouraging and supportive and sending prayers. There have been a few bad ones that don't understand my not wanting to post it on that website, which has really put me in a lot of turmoil. It could be just emotions from 2 doses of anesthesia. I don't know. But I was in the hospital for 6 days throughout this. I just got released this morning. I now do not have the pain in the left side of my belly, and I am able to keep down water and clear liquids. So I know that I am doing okay. I know that the problem was fixed and that it was not just a complication, it was a mistake. It was a surgical error that now I just have to pay the price of. I know that every surgery comes with risks and can come with complications, but this wasn't a complication. This was something that had been done incorrectly. I never thought that it would happen to me, and I had no reservations about going to Mexico. I don't think it had anything to do with the country that I was in. I think it was just a mistake on the doctor's part. Those of you guys who have been with me on my journey for years now, I appreciate you always